We're after time, is that what you're getting at?
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out how much time we've got.
I mean, I'm in a room of 100 constituents, I'm not going
Yes,
to.
ma'am.
I just have two quick questions. Could you go over the financial responsibilities once Tunnel to Tower donates the money and leaves? How that is.
Not
Okay, so you said 50 years. and the other-
Funded in perpetuity.
So you're here for 50 years, is that what I heard?
No, the land use restriction agreement is in effect for 50 years.
Okay.
We're committed to it at least 50 years.
So
As
once
long
it's
as
built,
there's a
what is
proper
your
pro-
responsibility?
Our responsibility that as
Once
long
it's
as a
built.
problem exists, we will be.
And just from a business point of view, let's put on our business hats. If the county sees its way to make a land use deed for us, which is restrictive to veterans, for $6 million, we're putting in $20 million as soon as we sign it. So
That's for building.
seven gets you 20 to build this
I got it.
and fund it, and then we will fund it in tranches as we go forward. But I don't think there's a charity that is able to make that kind of commitment. Because usually what charities do is they raise in tranches to build. Okay, now we've got to raise $20 million campaign to build, and that's going to take 2 years, or to develop, or have site plans. I'm telling you, the commitment of the board and the CEO of Tunnel to Towers is, if we get this land grant, we have committed $20 million to build this. I don't know if any business person or charity would walk away from this and didn't do their due diligence, not only in the vendor that we're going to hire to do the servicing, but the business decision of making that kind of commitment. So as far as a ledger, $7 million gets you 20.
I get that, that's not my question.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's funded in perpetuity. For as long as there is a need, this will be funded by Tunnel Towers, with no obligation by the county to make any further commitment.
After the ribbon is cut, the services that occur annually and forever are funded by Tunnel Towers. The operation and maintenance will be funded by Tunnel Towers.
And that includes US Vets.
I'm sorry?
US Vets is our vendor.
Right.
They're a contracted
Right, I get that.
service. So
So-
we sign a contract with them for services.
Okay, so my second question is, what is the footprint of all these buildings? Are you actually building inside these buildings, or you're tearing them down?
This is gonna be completely taken down.
And so it's
And we're
like-
gonna be developing on approximately 5 to 6 acres, not all of the land the county is donating.
So like
It's
4
developable.
stories, 5 stories, what?
It's 4.
4 stories?
Yes.
This is one of the best projects I have ever seen come before the board. I watched both meetings. I apologize because I'm ashamed that 3 of the commissioners chose not to come back to vote on this. This property will be built. We can either have something great come in and happen, or you will have a tower full of apartments. So you will have somebody who will actually manage it, they've said they would, or you can have the unknown. Personally, I wish you were in my backyard.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your presentation this morning. This is more, Commissioner Van Ostenbridge, but when you say to contact the meetings, removing the ability for people to call in is very impactful. So you've got a lot of people here that support it, and not everyone's available to come downtown and sit through. I mean, the scheduling is horrible the way it's not your fault, but you might have to come at 9 in the morning and wait till 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. So the ability to call into your meetings for any issue, but especially this one, would be great.
I appreciate that. A lot of those call-ins, the decorum degraded greatly with call-ins, when it's sort of like you're sitting behind a keyboard versus when you have to stand in front of somebody. But I appreciate your comment on that.
I understand,
Yeah.
the decorum of the meetings goes both ways.
Yes, sir. Please.
I just want to say thank you to the T Foundation. I've been a supporter for many years. I'm a retired New York State Court officer. I've met your brothers. I didn't know Tommy, but I'm glad you're coming into my backyard and that some of my donations are coming right back to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
By the way, I know you can't commit to it right now, but could you set this matter for a time certain?
Sure.
Okay.
So what do you-
That would help.
Yes, so what he means by that is, on the agenda, instead of just making an item 31 and we get to it after 30, we would make it a, usually it's either a 1:30 after lunch or a 9 a.m. Time certain. We can do that, that's no problem. All right, let's do one last question.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Me? I have a question.
Well, go ahead,
I just have one quick, is this self-funded in any way of the disabled veterans that they will have to pay any fee at all and taken from their disability checks, or is it gratis free to the veteran?
So it's affordable housing, but to the extent that a veteran is unable to pay, Tunnelton Towers pays the cost of their stay until they're able to support themselves.
And the good news about Tunnelton Towers is, we're not a government, so we can be subjective to the person we're seeking to help. We don't have the stringent rules of government. You know, you have to jump through this hurdle and that hurdle. If somebody is in need and they're truly being able to be helped, we'll help them. We don't wanna hear the 10 ways things can't get done.
No, I'm not saying that, I'm saying some disability checks are quite high, in 100% disability. Some guys are making $6,000 a month, God bless them, you know?
We will take the
100%
veteran as they come.
Okay, so they may contribute to the self-funding
Right.
of
Yes,
the project.
and to answer your question more directly, the veteran never paid more than 30% of their income.
Okay.
But that path to becoming sustainable is very important. If they do eventually reintegrate to society, they're going to have to, obviously, pay their way.
Okay, I know we have at least.
Okay,
oh,
I
let's
just,
read
this
two
is,
more.
this
Two
is for
questions.
the
Yeah.
commissioner. I know you don't have a crystal ball.
Sure.
But when organizations like this, and there's a lot of different ones that treat different issues like addiction and all of them. When a private organization is successful and has a successful business model, which I believe Tunnel to Towers and US Vets does, what are the chances, this is where the crystal ball comes in, what are the chances of the county using, for example, the money it has set aside to use for homelessness in general, duplicating this kind of program for the rest of the homeless people? Because I agree with this gentleman here who is concerned that people will get dropped off in this area. I don't live far from here. When I moved here 30 years ago, you had to go to 14th Street to see a homeless person. Now, they're right outside my door on 43rd Street.
Sure.
So, will the county be open to perhaps using their business model, at least in terms of the wraparound services and possibly the shelter / affordable housing, and create it?
So, to put you on the spot, how much are we allocating, 600?
Very close to $600,000.
So currently, by the way, I knew that.
Which I think is
So,
great. I
so
love
currently,
Turning Points.
Turning Points, we fund Turning Points to the tune of roughly $600,000 annually. We also fund 6 figures to the Salvation Army. I can justify those contributions based on services that are rendered that I think are for the public good in the end. I don't believe the county, the government needs to go into that business. I believe there are not-for-profits, right?
I agree. I agree. We
Yeah,
don't
and
need
the mayor
to
and I
be in
had
the
a long-
business.
Mayor and I are friends, we have long discussions about this, where when MSO or BPD picks someone up and we take them to Turning Points and, we pick them up in a situation wherever they are in the county, they say they want help and they want services, and what do? We take them and drop them off. You're providing a service to us, I mean, it's that or jail, and we don't want that. So I'm comfortable with the 600 that they receive, I'm comfortable with, it's $150 that goes to the Salvation Army. I'm comfortable with those contributions. When you go beyond that and you say, should the government should I take the fruits of your labor, right, and then distribute it over here to someone else to provide for their basic needs in perpetuity? I start to run into some conflicts there. Now, every situation is different, right? Every scenario is different. If you want us to join up with which is what you're suggesting, join up with
No, I'm
a
suggesting
private
copy,
entity.
I'm suggesting duplicating a business
Sure.
model.
When you say duplicating, if there's another entity that's interested in doing this and they're looking for like a one-time contribution. I took flack because I'm a huge supporter of Easter seals, right? They operate their facility, they do the whole thing on their own, they have land. I convinced the commission to give them $3 million to expand their facility to go from serving 9 autistic children to 85. I don't wanna get in the business of serving autistic children, but they do, and they wanna keep doing it, but the county's growing, and they just needed to expand the facility, one-time contribution. I was comfortable with that, and the board was as well. This is another one-time contribution, and it's a total of a $20 million investment, and they maintain it and run it in perpetuity. I'm comfortable with this. So if I'm presented with something similar, and I'm 1 out of 7, okay? But if I'm presented with something similar, where you can show me that there's a public benefit, it's a one-time capital cost, and then it's gonna benefit the county going forward in perpetuity at no cost to us from that point, you could probably bring me around on that, but there's
how
a
much
lot
is-
of details to iron out here.
I understand,
It's a
I
super
understand,
hypothetical.
but does the county not have some responsibility? I mean, I'm a taxpayer,
I think
but
we
the
covered-
homeless gentleman I saw walking down 43rd Street carrying his suitcase this morning probably is not.
Sure.
So my question is the county willing to even entertain getting Turning Points as their wraparound services, cause Turning Points is a wonderful thing,
But believe it
but
or not-
having a building where people can live while they're being helped by the
So,
services?
I'll answer this 2 ways. One, I'll tell you that the sheriff's substation, we are moving forward with providing
For
it's
families.
transitional housing
And
for
that's
families. We
wonderful.
got caseworkers there, we're gonna try to get them on their feet, we're gonna get them jobs, like, the school district, Mary Foreman is here, she's your school district rep. But we've talked about operating a VPK out of the building, so I mean, bus stop out front, so we're working towards that for families. Now, you're talking about permanent housing and the county providing it. Let me ask you a very direct question. If the county commission, roughly 2,000 homeless people, if the county commission built 2,000 units to house all of the 2,000 people, and we opened it January 1, how many homeless people do you think would be in Manatee County in 6 months?
20,000. I get it. When we first moved here, there were no homeless here during the summer, maybe 1 or 2. There were some permanently homeless people
It's a
downtown.
catch-22, like, we wanna help our.
But in
folks.
October, when it started getting cold up north, Greyhound was dropping off, I don't know, 50 or 60 homeless people.
And they'd be dropping off at
And I
houses.
know,
House
it's,
every
and I
week.
knew, I came from Illinois, and I grew up in Chicago.
Sure.
And I knew that Chicago was giving them vouchers for a Greyhound bus ticket out of town. And if they could get to Florida, where they could sleep on the beach, or just sit on a street corner in the
Sure.
warmth, this is where they came.
I'm not arguing that it's a very difficult, challenging
It is
issue
difficult.
at all. And I'm not saying that I have a magic wand to solve it at all.
I know.
I'm trying to help families here, and I'm trying to help
So
veterans
what
there.
you're saying is one-time money towards a
I
worthwhile
can be
project.
convinced if you know, the right pitch and the right facility and the right operation, I can be
Okay.
convinced for a one-time contribution.
That's fair. I'm not
depending on what
looking
it
to
is.
get in an argument
And
with
here,
you.
yeah, and then here, I mean, we already own it, right? So I mean, if
Well,
that makes it a little easier.
county
to give you
owns a
land,
lot of other
right? It's an
facilities.
asset, but we're getting land.
We could fix the problems in Chicago.
We said one more, yeah.
Pardon?
We could fix the problems in Chicago.
I don't think so. Oh, I don't think so.
I wanna stay on subject. Hey, I wanna stay on subject, it's their show, I
Where
don't wanna get
from?
off subject.
So the project here is a sober living facility.
Oh, that, that's from North
So
Chicago.
what happens if 80% of your
I
homeless
practically went
bed has a substance abuse problem? Is it housing first, and then you help them get sober? How does it work?
So this would be a mixture of 2 philosophies. One is, we would work with the current homeless service providers or people experiencing homelessness, treatment facilities, so when people graduate and are ready to move to the next level, here you go, let's go, we have affordable housing. However, those that can live in permanent housing, like many people do, that can do intensive outpatient treatment services. A lot of people who live in housing that have nothing to do with homelessness go to outpatient services. They go to work, then they go to treatment. For some reason, we stigmatize homeless like, oh, they gotta all go there first, then here. People are at different levels. So if you need residential, you should go to residential. And when you're done with residential, come to us. If you can do outpatient, come. If you ever relapse, we treat your relapse clinically. So if somebody's been using drugs for 10 years and they have one slip, I still call that improvement, right? But if they get into a state, they keep doing it, And now it's our job to refer them to somewhere where they can go away for a little while, get some treatment, and come back to their home like any of us would. Same exact way. So it's gonna be a harm reduction, but also, we would like to work with current providers that are providing those things here in the community and say, we now have affordable housing, they clean this up, let's go. So the goal is always to have a clean and sober environment. That is always, but we're not punitive. We work with somebody clinically if something happens.
And removing that temptation and diverting those temptations into more productive things, which will be
You've told me time's up. You're so far over time.
We appreciate all the time. Thank you.
Hey, wait,
Turning point.
Oh, yes, turning points.
Okay.
Turning points.
Sorry, thank you.
Speak loud.
I just wanted to say that I agree with you and that we as agencies are here to learn from people like US Vets who have dedicated facilities and time and energy and money and expertise beyond what we do. We want to learn from them. We want to partner with them, and we do believe that bringing them here will rise up services for all people experiencing homelessness, and that we can do better with them here together. And we hope that you all will email all of your commissioners, because we only have one here with us today. Never will we have an opportunity like this again, where an agency is coming in with the money, coming in with the supportive services. It's not going to be an extra burden to Turning Points and Salvation Army. It's going to lift our burden so we can help other people who are experiencing homelessness with the dollars that we have. So we fully support and hope to partner.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And by the way, I want to compliment, this is a big crowd, and you are all very polite on Saturday morning.
I wasn't sure how much pushback we might get on this, and I was a little bit nervous going into it until the first question asked was, how can we as a community help and volunteer and participate? And then I felt instantly a lot better. So I thank you guys for coming. You've all been quiet, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank all of you for coming out to support veterans on a Saturday morning. I mean, I guess the question is, are these the right guys?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. God bless and drive safe.
And we're gonna stick around.
Yeah, we'll be around.